Hey, it's Andrew back here at BTO Range in Conroe, Texas. And today on the bench, we have a new product from Ruger. It's been out for a few weeks now, and we just actually got one in, traded back into us. Apparently, the guy won it or got it for Christmas and already had one, or I don't know what the deal was, but it's the Ruger RXM. So we decided we'd take a look at this pistol, a little bit of a different gun than Ruger's put out before. It's a collaboration between Ruger and Magpul, hence the name RXM, Ruger times Magpul to make the gun. So Magpul basically provides the injection molded frame, and then Ruger builds the gun around that. So it's very much like a Gen 3 Glock on the inside. We're going to pull it apart here in just a second. We'll go over the external features and then pull it apart. But they did it probably in a way that Glock should have done it. This is actually a modular firearm. It's got a chassis on the inside of it where you can move that chassis in between different grip frames. So there's some potential for longer and shorter slide, different colors, things of that nature, different length grips. So it's the modular gun that had Glock done that, they might have had a better shot at getting the DoD contract. But since they didn't do that, they didn't get it, right? So anyway, so looking at the gun externally, let's clear it out here real quick. So no thumb safety, no grip safety. We have the 15 round magazine. So it's a Glock 19 pattern gun. Let's remove this RXM thing here. So and we've done away with the finger grooves. There's no finger grooves on the front strap. There's a little bit of a stippling grip texture here. We have a non-reversible safety. We do have a flared magazine well here to make it a little bit easier to reload. And then we have a more non-Glock-ish grip angle. We don't have the big hump here. And I don't shoot Glocks well because they don't fit my hand well. But this RXM actually fits my hand fairly well. So I think we'll be able to shoot it pretty well. And we're going to shoot this one here in just a few minutes. So we have a slide lock here, very much like a Glock, a little bit different pattern with a little fence around it. It is still not, it's difficult to really hang your thumb on it. And then we have the takedown lever here, so, and a typical bladed trigger. We are optic ready with this optic ready plate that leaves the rear side in place, so that's good news. The slide assembly, as far as I can see, the extractor, depressor, plunger here. We'll take that apart in a second and see if it looks Glockish. We know the sights are Glock cut, so you could put Glock pattern sights on there. The ones that come with it are high enough to at least do a partial co-witness depending on the optic you put on there. We have a blacked out rear sight, and then we have a tritium lamp in the front sight. So it does fall into probably the second biggest gimmick in the self-defense handgun world with the night sights, right? So the first biggest gimmick is lasers, but the second gimmick is night sights. So we do have a one rail slot here, ostensibly for white light, but I guess you could put a laser on there too if you wanted it. So let's pop it apart real quick. So we cleared it out. It's going to take apart basically the same way as a typical Glock would. We have a captured Gen 3 looking recoil spring assembly. Barrel comes out the same way. It's very, very Glock looking here. We have the firing pin safety here, which is very definitely Glock looking as well. I don't think I brought a punch. Let me grab a punch real quick so we can pull the end plate off and look inside this slide. Okay, so it looks like, and I haven't taken the slide of one of these apart yet, but I've taken about 1 billion Glocks apart. So we're going to give it a shot the same way that we would take the Glock apart. End plate comes off. Striker unit comes out. We have a very familiar looking extractor depressor plunger unit with spring and plunger there. And then it would appear that we have the same kind of thing going on with the extractor. Yeah. The extractor. Yeah, so if you've taken a Glock apart, that didn't stay in there like the Glock would. So if you've taken a Glock slide apart, then taking the Ruger RXM slide apart is exactly the same. The parts look eerily familiar, even to the point where this is a narrow spade type or spear type point on the firing pin or striker. I wish they hadn't done that. Shadow Systems uses a round striker point. I think it's probably, it reduces drag better. It's probably a better play. So, all in all, then there's even a firing pin channel in here. So, uh, very familiar there for sure. So, this is a chassis here. This is going to come out as a unit instead of in pieces like the Glock will. So it becomes a little bit like a SIG in that regard, except that you have to use tools to get it out. All right, so we're going to go out from the right side of the gun to the left side of the gun. Probably don't need to use a punch, but this is a new gun that's not been taken apart before, so it may need a punch to make it happen. We'll give it a shot and see. And I'll bet you this is the same diameter as the other punch. Just don't have a long enough punch to go all the way through there to bring it out. It's not quite out. I can get to it from there though. Where there's a will, there's a way. So once that pin comes out, now we have to defeat this. Got a very much Gen 3 takedown lever spring here, that silver spring. So that's got to be depressed. And then the takedown lever can go out to either side. Just once you depress the spring, that guy just comes out. And then there's one pin still left in there, and that's this pin right here, which they call the takedown pin. And this guy comes out right to left as well. It has to come out right to left because it's got a there. And once that comes loose, you may get this spring here loose, and you may get the leech spring loose. We'll see. But now we should be able to come in here and lift out the locking block. The entire assembly actually should be free to come out now. just like that. And this keys into the frame back here. So that's why there's no pin back here, because that dovetails into the frame. That's the gun, the serialized component. This is just a part. So these will be available over the counter. Now, my understanding is that when you buy a different grip frame, when they become available, you're going to have to pull the takedown lever spring and the slide lock spring out of your existing grip frame to put them in the new grip frame. And you'll probably have to pull the mag catch and mag catch spring out. So why they did not make that reversible, I have no idea. There's no reason for it not to be reversible from jump. So if they make this in a left hand only, that means you'll have to buy an entire freaking grip frame if you're left-handed. So I think they missed the mark on that by a pretty big stretch. So that said, it just kind of is what it is, I guess. So we're going to put this thing back together. Oh, magazines. It comes with two Magpul GL9 15-round magazines. Now, yes, Glock magazines will fit. Interestingly enough, the magazine is suitable for right or left hand, but the gun's not, but the magazine is. And they are not metal lined. So they're inexpensive. That's the good part. They do work. They work until they don't. If you try to press too many rounds into them and spread them out, then these will fail quicker than the Glock mag will fail. But be that as it may, they're inexpensive. You can afford to buy some more of those, I guess. So the gun itself is not that expensive. I think real world, once the retail price kind of settles down on this gun, which it should do pretty quickly because they're generally available now, we should see them retailing on gun shop counters for that $400 mark, or maybe just a couple of dollars less. So the same caveats apply when you put this gun together as with a Glock, as far as this slide lock goes. Other than that, it goes back in just the same as the reverse of how it came out. So like a 320, like a SIG 320, we're going to key that in there, slide that down into place. And now we're going to be putting these pins in from left to right. Now, when we put this pin back in, there is a U-notch right here. So that U-notch kind of goes up to where it fits onto this spring, or this spring. Again, this is my first time dealing with this gun, so we'll see how this goes. Hang on, let me go look at something to see if that spring goes up or down. So that's harder than it needs to be, probably because it's a new gun. But what you want to make sure is that this U-shaped notch is facing up so that everything is just clear through here. Otherwise, it would have a bump right there, a bump coming up there. So when you put the slide lock in, you can put it in from either side. But just like on a Glock, there is a groove here. So we have to make sure that guy's facing up and to the rear. So we're going to put it in here. We're going to depress this spring to get the notch on it. So that guy will click into place just like that. And then again, from the left side, we'll put this locking block pin just straight into this hole here. So then we can put the slide back together. Ruger could have made that a little simpler. If they were going to be like a Glock, they could have made it a little bit more Glocky, but be that as it may. Let's see if we can clip this back into place. There doesn't seem to be, unlike a Glock, there's not a, there doesn't seem to be a little detent in there for that spring, so. The same caveats would apply as far as not having oil in the firing pin channel, just like you would with any other really striker fired guns. And I'm sure the aftermarket's going to catch up with this gun as well as far as making metal guide rods and things of that nature. Together the rest of the way just like you would any other Glock pattern gun. Capture all slide rails, pop it together like that. Just function check it. So just on the dry fire, it's got a decent trigger. You've still got some take up and you've got the wall there because it's an uncocked trigger like a Glock, and the cruciform is pulling the striker or firing pin backwards, dropping out of the way, letting the striker go forward. So and again, I imagine if this gun gets any traction, it probably won't take long for them to come up with a trigger set like a Timmy that stalls the striker further back to give it a more discernible wall instead of a roll through. So that will probably come if this gun gets some legs under it. And there's really no reason why it shouldn't. I know I've been beaten up on it a little bit because Ruger could have done things, in my opinion, for what that's worth, just a little bit better when they put this gun together. A little bit more thought into some of that area. But be that as it may, you're getting a 15-round gun, relatively modular, optic ready, decent set of sights on it for $400 or slightly less in real world prices. So we're going to get set up on the range, and we're going to put some rounds through this thing. Hey, it's Andrew back here at the range. We got our RXM put back together, this new little pistol from Ruger. Have Terry here with us. We're going to put some rounds through this little guy. and see what we think, see how glockish it is and how glockish it's not. And it gives them the opportunity to make fun of my ear pro again.
Yes, I love your ear pro.
Because they think that you're wearing mine and I'm wearing yours. But I rock the teal with pride. So
yeah, I love my black, all black.
Okay. So we have a couple of magazines here. Here's an RXM.
All right.
There's a target down there. Go ahead.
All right, let's do it. You want to hand me the thingy, and I'll hand it back. All right.
What do you think?
Okay, I like it. I wasn't sure what I was going to think about this, but it shoots pretty well. So let me get on this side. So
Yeah,
I pulled those. It's kind of cold in here, but I was very, very, very happy with the way this firearm shoots. I like the stippling, like always. I like something that has a little bit more of an aggressive stippling on it. It just, I don't know, it shoots just like a Glock. Maybe, I don't know, the trigger, I feel like I like it better than, I have so many Glocks. I have the Gen 3 Glock, Gen 5, so the 19. So I feel like this is, out of the box better than what, the Gen 3, 19 would be. I love how it comes stock with the blacked out sights. Yeah, I'd say overall it's a pretty good little gun.
Anything you didn't like?
It's just like a Glock. I guess the only thing that I don't like is something that I actually, usually would modify on my Glocks anyway if they don't already have it, is I like to have the, it's got an undercut, but I like it to be a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, other than that,
okay,
that's it.
Let's run the target back out and I'll try it next.
All right. I'm gonna put your target at 20 yards.
I'm gonna shoot it at high chest instead of putting them in the same holes that you did.
All right.
So I'm going to agree. I like it better than I do any stock Glock for sure. But I don't really like stock Glocks at all.
Yeah,
but
I do.
In any event, even though to me a Glock has a really mushy, rolly trigger to it, and to a degree this has also when you're dry firing. When you're live firing it, the reset is there. It's nice and deliberate, and you can put in some good work with this little gun. I think Ruger has done a good job of making it shootable. I wish they'd have done some things different like we talked about in the desktop video as far as the ability to move around on this gun a little bit, and,
Exactly.
for left-handed people, things like that. But overall, I think it's going to be hard-pressed to beat it at the price point that it's at. So.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, if you like what we're doing, folks, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, let us know, hit us up in the comments and tell us what you think. We're super glad that you watch our videos. We're just astounded that we get as much interaction as we do. So we appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.